about this one? 3 times
2
x
3
minus.
2 times 2.
Does everyone see I took the 3 out? It's the opposite of distributing. When you factor, you're taking things apart into 2 parts. There are 2 kinds of factoring. There's factoring where you have a trinomial and you have to factor it into 2 separate binomials. And there's the opposite of distributing. Distributing, does everyone see that if I multiply the 3 times the x, I get 3x? And the 3 times the 2, I get minus 6? The opposite of distributing is factoring. I took a 3 out of each part. Now there's something else very important. Everybody look at this. You need to make this change. You will make mistakes if you don't. If it says subtract, change it to plus a negative. It'll lead to all kinds of errors if you don't make that change.
Every time you subtract, you do that?
Yes. Now what? What am I missing in the first one?
3.
I multiply by 3. That's it. So 15 and negative 8, 7. And my common denominator?
3.
Now sometimes what they'll do is they'll go ahead and multiply out your denominator, but I like it in factored form because it makes it clearer. 0 is not a problem. X can be 0. There's no trouble at all. What can x not be? You better not let x be 2, right? Does everybody understand that you can't have a 0 in the denominator? If I put a 0 for x, I have a negative 6 in the denominator, don't I?
Yeah.
Not a problem. But if I put a 2 right here for x, does everyone see I'll get a 0?
It's not be equal to 2 and 0, right?
No, 0's okay. 0's not a problem. 0's fine. 0 gives you negative 7 over 6. Yeah, same thing. Got it? This is one way to write your answer. You can also multiply that out if you want to. Multiply it back out to give you 3x minus 6. Either way, x better not be 2, right? Because you do not want to get a 0 in your denominator. Make sure you write the answer and the disclaimer. Either of these answers is fine.
Yes, sir. So the x would not be equal to whatever would make the denominator 0?
Right. Basically, what you're doing is you're setting your denominator not equal to 0, right? Pretty clear on that? You're setting this not equal to 0 and then solving it.
What?
Because you can't have a denominator 0.
The denominator isn't the same as the...
They're the same. This is the same as this.
No. Like, if you look at number 3, you have
Yes.
3x squared.
Yes.
Does that work? Does that work for all?
No, just you just have to work them out. Now let's take a look at one where you're going to have a heck of a time figuring out what the common denominator is. In fact, it would be impossible in this one. Can everybody see that you could look at these and see that it might be 20x?
Yeah.
And you could look at these two and see that it might be 3x squared?
Yeah.
Okay, I absolutely guarantee that no one can tell me what the denominator for number 17 is without factoring it first. No one. You may remember last chapter I told you that the last 6 weeks that if you did not know how to factor trinomials, you would not be able to do the problems. If you can't factor these, you're stuck. I hope these aren't a problem. They're pretty easy ones. We want a product of 9 and a difference of 8. 1 and 9, clearly. Which one gets the negative? The 9, because it used to have a negative 8. Factor. Factor the other one. This time we want a product of positive 9 and a sum of negative 10. They're both negative, aren't they? What are they? 9 and 1 again. This time, almost done. You need to find what's missing and multiply it, but you also need to make that change. Very important. If you don't do this, you will make mistakes all over the place. See the subtraction?
Negative 1.
Change it to plus and negative 1. It'll make your life a lot easier.
That was negative 1.
Yeah, plus and negative 1, same thing.
Handle what's missing. Is there anything missing?
Yeah, what's missing from here, guys?
Negative 1.
X minus 1. What's missing over here? X plus 1. The whole point here is to get a common denominator, right? Are both the denominators the same now? Yeah, and you can leave them in factored form if you want, and I recommend doing that. I'd leave it just like it is. My numerators are now, need to multiply these.
X squared.
X squared minus x. And this one gets distributed. Minus x minus 1, yes? You got that?
X squared minus 1.
No.
No,
X squared minus
one and-
Minus 2x minus 1. And my denominator is x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 9. Almost finished. I need to write my numerator x squared minus 2x minus 1. Can you factor that?
Yes.
No. We would like to. Now, if this was a minus 2 and that was a minus 1, you could factor it. Okay? But they're backwards. There's no way to factor this. You cannot factor this into 2 parts. If this was a plus 1 and this was a minus 2, you could factor it. But it doesn't work the way it is. Because the only way you can get a minus 1 is a 1 times a negative 1, right? Which will give you a 0 in the middle, and that's not going to work. So, if I want, I can leave my denominator the way it is, or I can multiply it out. If I multiply it out, I get x squared minus 1 for these two, and then I multiply x squared minus 1 times x minus 9, and get x cubed minus 9x squared minus 1x plus 9. Can you